Picture this. You're celebrating your 10th wedding anniversary at the most expensive restaurant in town. Your wife excuses herself to the bathroom, but instead of returning, she walks straight to another table, sits down with another man, and kisses him passionately right in front of you. Right in front of everyone. That was my reality 3 months ago. And what I did next? Well, let's just say revenge is a dish best served ice cold. If you're ready for a story that'll make your jaw drop, hit that subscribe button right now because you're going to want to follow this channel for more unbelievable true stories. My name is David, and I thought I had the perfect life. 10 years married to Sarah, a beautiful home in the suburbs, and a thriving accounting firm that I'd built from nothing. Sarah worked as a marketing director at a tech company, and we seemed like the couple everyone envied. But here's the thing about perfect lives. They're usually hiding the most imperfect secrets. The signs were there, I just chose to ignore them. The late nights at work that became more frequent. The sudden interest in fitness and new clothes. The way her phone was always face down on the table. Classic red flags that I convinced myself were just life changes. Our anniversary was supposed to be special. I'd booked Chateau Lauren, the kind of place where a single meal costs more than most people's rent. I wanted to surprise Sarah, to rekindle whatever spark had been dimming between us. I arrived first, wearing my best suit and holding a small velvet box containing diamond earrings I'd spent weeks picking out. When Sarah walked in, she looked stunning, but there was something different in her eyes, something distant. We ordered wine and made small talk about work, but the conversation felt forced, mechanical, like we were reading from a script we'd performed too many times before. Then Sarah excused herself to the restroom. "I'll be right back, honey," she said, giving me a smile that didn't reach her eyes. 5 minutes passed, then 10. I was starting to worry when I saw her emerge from the hallway. But instead of walking back to our table, she walked directly to a corner booth where a man was sitting alone. I watched in complete disbelief as my wife of 10 years slid into the booth across from the stranger. But he wasn't a stranger to her. That much was obvious from their body language. And then it happened, the moment that shattered my world into a million pieces. She leaned across the table and kissed him. Not a peck on the cheek, not an accidental brush of lips. A deep, passionate kiss that lasted long enough for half the restaurant to notice. I sat there frozen, the diamond earrings still in my jacket pocket, watching my marriage die in real time. Other diners were staring, whispering. The waiter approached their table with menus, treating them like any other couple on a date, because that's exactly what they were. My wife was on a date, on our anniversary, while her husband sat 30 feet away watching it all unfold. I could have made a scene. I could have stormed over there, thrown a drink in her face, caused the kind of public spectacle that would have given me momentary satisfaction but ultimately made me look like the fool. Instead, I did something much more powerful. I took out my phone and started recording. For the next 20 minutes, I documented everything. The intimate conversation, the hand-holding, the way she laughed at his jokes, the same laugh she used to save for me. I captured it all in crystal-clear 4K video. When they finally stood to leave together, Sarah glanced over at our table. Our eyes met across the restaurant, and I saw the exact moment she realized she'd been caught. The color drained from her face. Her mouth fell open. The man she was with followed her gaze and saw me sitting there, still as a statue, holding my phone. Sarah said something to him, probably some lie about who I was, and started walking toward me. But I was already standing, already walking toward the exit. She caught up with me in the parking lot. "David, I can explain." "Can you?" I turned to face her, and she must have seen something in my expression that told her this wasn't going to be the conversation she expected. "It's not what it looked like, Sarah." My voice was calm, not because she wanted to be honest, but because she realized lying was pointless. His name was Marcus. They'd been seeing each other for 8 months. She was planning to ask for a divorce after the holidays. Apparently, she wanted to get through one more Christmas before destroying our life together. "I never meant for you to find out this way," she said, tears streaming down her face. "No," I replied. "You meant for me to never find out at all." She begged me not to make a scene, not to ruin her reputation at work, not to tell our families. She promised we could work through this, go to counseling, start over. But here's what Sarah didn't understand. The moment she chose to betray me on our anniversary in public, with such blatant disrespect, she had already made her choice. Now I was going to make mine. I filed for divorce the next morning. But that was just the beginning. Running an accounting firm for 10 years had taught me a lot about money, investments, and financial planning. It had also taught me about due diligence and investigation. Over the next 2 weeks, while Sarah was begging for forgiveness and promising to end things with Marcus, I was conducting my own little investigation. And what I found changed everything. Marcus wasn't just some random guy my wife had met. He was her colleague at the tech company. Her married colleague, with 2 young children and a wife named Jennifer who had no idea her husband was living a double life. But it got better or worse depending on your perspective. The company Sarah and Marcus worked for had a strict policy about romantic relationships between employees, especially when one party was in a supervisory position, which Marcus was. He was Sarah's direct manager. Their relationship wasn't just adultery. It was a violation of company policy that could result in termination for both of them. She'd been funding her affair with our money. Money I'd worked 60-hour weeks to earn. But the most shocking discovery came when I hired a private investigator to dig deeper. Sarah and Marcus weren't just having an affair. They were planning to start their own marketing consultancy using client lists and proprietary information from their current company. They were going to steal company secrets, take their biggest clients, and launch a competing business. In other words, my wife wasn't just cheating on me. She was planning to commit corporate espionage. Now, I want to be clear about something. Revenge isn't always the answer, and I don't recommend this course of action for everyone. But sometimes, when someone betrays you so completely, so callously, the universe provides you with the perfect opportunity for justice. And I took it. First, I compiled all the evidence, the video from the restaurant, the credit card statements, the private investigator's report, and documentation of their planned business theft. Then I made 4 phone calls. Call number 1, Marcus's wife, Jennifer. I invited her for coffee and showed her everything. She deserved to know what her husband was doing behind her back. Call number 2, the HR department at Sarah and Marcus's company. I provided them with evidence of the inappropriate relationship and the planned corporate theft. Call number 3, the company's biggest clients, who Sarah and Marcus were planning to poach. I gave them a heads up about the potential breach of their confidential information. Call number 4, my divorce attorney, with instructions to pursue every penny I was legally entitled to, including damages for adultery and misuse of marital funds. The results exceeded my wildest expectations. Within 48 hours, both Sarah and Marcus were fired. The company pursued legal action against them for the planned theft of trade secrets. Their dream of starting a business together died before it even began. Jennifer filed for divorce and went after Marcus for everything he had, which wasn't much after the legal fees. Sarah lost her job, her boyfriend, and half of everything we'd built together. The house had to be sold, and after all the legal expenses, she walked away with barely enough for a security deposit on a small apartment. But here's the most beautiful part. She still has no idea that I orchestrated the entire downfall. She thinks it was just a series of unfortunate coincidences. Bad luck. Wrong place, wrong time. The truth is, there's no such thing as luck when someone betrays you as completely as Sarah betrayed me. Today, I'm happier than I've been in years. I have a smaller house but a cleaner conscience. I date when I want to, travel when I want to, and never have to wonder if the person I'm sharing my life with is living a lie. Sarah? Last I heard, she was working as a barista and living with a roommate. Sometimes karma needs a little help. And sometimes the best revenge isn't getting mad. It's getting even. If the story left you speechless, you're not alone. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more incredible true stories. And let me know in the comments. What would you have done in my situation? I read every single comment, and your story might be featured in a future video. Until next time, remember, the truth always comes out and justice, well, justice can be beautiful.